The warden opened the prison cell gate and threw me in like a dog. I heard his ugly voice rolling in my left ear saying, "This is your new home. Finally, you are exactly where you belong. Your new friends are ready to welcome you. Brace yourself." I looked at my cellmates, and for the first time in a long time, I felt scared. They were all creepy looking and wearing serious faces. I didn't even know whether to greet them or just remain quiet. My name is Rindai. Allow me to take you through the journey of my life. Just a warning, please put your safety shoes on. You're gonna need them. The road is quite rough and thorny. Definitely not for the faint-hearted. My mother died in the maternity room just after giving birth to me, so I was told. I was brought up by my dad and my stepmom. Life wasn't easy. I was treated differently from my siblings and often got shouted at and beaten by my stepmom, even for the slightest mistakes. What hurt me the most was that my dad wouldn't do anything to protect me. I was sent to live with my grandmother in the village because my stepmother didn't want me in the same house as her children. In the village, I was forced to do all sorts of difficult chores children of my age wouldn't do. I could make fire, fetch water and firewood from a long distance. I could go for days without getting proper meals. Then the worst day of my life was when my uncle raped me. He told me not to say a word to anyone, or else he would kill me. But I gathered some courage and told my grandmother. She freaked out and told me not to say a word to anyone. I was so hurt that my own grandmother chose to protect her son and not me. A neighbor saw me crying and persuaded me to open up. I told her the whole story and she got my uncle arrested. She then took me to a church orphanage to live there. At the orphanage, I received love and got sense of belonging. But there was this evil man called Father Paul. He molested me and a lot of girls at the orphanage and sodomized most boys too. Everyone was scared of him, so no one reported him. He could give us sweets and snacks to keep our mouths shut. The only person who made our lives better was Mother Anna. She was kind and patient. We often found solace in her. But Father Paul made me hate men even more. First, it was my father rejecting me to make his wife happy. Then my uncle in the village raped me. Now Father Paul was doing as he pleased with my body. Yet I was at a place where I was supposed to be taken good care of. He made me hate church and pastors too. Years went by, and I later got a bursary for tertiary studies in a different town. I did a degree in accounting. I graduated with distinctions and got a job at a certain prominent company. Then the CEO of that company started sexually harassing me. He could grab my bum or pet my boobs without my consent. He threatened to fire me if I dared to report him. I needed the job, so I tolerated him. But deep down, I was hurting badly. A lot of good men asked me out for dates, but I didn't accept any because I developed strong hatred towards men. One day I wrote a list of people that hate me in my life and vowed to revenge to all of them. I told myself that if I wanted to live in a better world, I had to create one. And there was no way the world would be better with evil people in it. So I had to eliminate them. Father Paul from the orphanage used to preach to us that God gave us power to step on serpents and that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So I knelt down and prayed to God to strengthen me in my vengeance journey. On the list of people I wanted to eliminate was my dad, my stepmom, my uncle, Father Paul, and my boss. I bought red poison and mixed it with another chemical component that I saw someone using to kill people in a horror movie. For convenience sake, I kept the deadly mixture in a purse that I carried everywhere I went. I was ready to attack at any given chance. My first victim became Boss Joe, the CEO of the company I was working for. I was tired of his bullying and sexual harassment. So I spiked his coffee and watched him sipping it. He died hours later. I felt like I'd served myself and other women he victimized justice. Post-mortem was done and the poison was detected, but nothing pointed back to me. His wife was the chief suspect because she's the one who made him the lunch that he ate before taking the coffee I spiked. A few weeks later, I visited the orphanage at which I grew up. Nothing had changed except new faces, since children of my generation had already moved on with their lives. I bought groceries and toiletries for the children, as well as some goodies for Mother Anna and Father Paul. I went into Father Paul's office and sat there with him, just the two of us. Thank you so much for the cookies, Rindai. I'm surprised you still remember my favorite cookies after this long. Father Paul said as he ate the cookies I poisoned. How can I forget your favorite ginger cookies that you used to give us after forcing yourself on me and other girls at this home? I said, looking straight into his eyes. Oh, come on, Rindy. That's a thing of the past. Why are you bringing that up now? He said with an irritating grin on his face. A thing of the past? That's what you call it? You abused us, Father Paul. You traumatized me and other girls at this home. You ruined our lives. And you call it a thing of the past. How dare you? You don't even have remorse after all you did. You truly are a leopard that will never change its spots. I hope in your next life you come as a housefly or a bird because you are a disgrace to humankind. In my next life? What do you mean? You. He began to choke on cookies as he tried to talk. What? You wanna know what I did to you? I did what I couldn't do back then because I was young and vulnerable. But I'm grown now. This world is going to be a better place without you. So just shut up and die in peace. He started sweating heavily. I pretended to scream for help. And when people came, I lied that he just started gasping while talking to me. He was rushed to hospital where he died on arrival. After the burial of Father Paul, I carried on with my mission. I went to the village where my uncle lived after he got released from prison. By that time, He had inherited my grandmother's house since she had died. He lived there alone. His wife had left him because of his abuse and cruelty. My uncle seemed happy to see me and welcomed me as if nothing ever happened. He told me how he was struggling with diabetes and access to medication in the village. I told my uncle that I had brought him some medication. I gave him a cup with poison in it to drink. I enjoyed every second I watched him drinking the poison. I told him to lie down and allow the medication to work. He looked at me and said, "I feel dizzy, my daughter. Is this how the medication works?" I laughed at him sarcastically and said, "No, that's how the poison works. It's payback time now. You remember when you used to sexually abuse me when I was a child? Now this is your reward. I want you to die a slow and painful death." He just looked at me but couldn't say a word. I got into my car and drove off, leaving him for death. I heard his body was found decomposed after a week. I didn't even bother to attend his funeral. Nothing scared me anymore. All I wanted was to make the people that hate me pay. They created a monster in me, so they had to test their own medicine. I looked at the list of people I wanted to eliminate and felt proud of myself. My mission was slowly getting accomplished. Now only my dad and my stepmom were left. I visited them during school hours because I wanted my siblings not to be there at home when I attack. I was surprised to see my stepmom welcoming me with love. The same woman that ill-treated me when I was young now loved me because I was now working and could take care of her. My dad seemed a bit embarrassed to see me all grown and living a good life. He had let me grow up at an orphanage while he was still alive. I told my stepmom to sit down and relax while I cook for everyone in the kitchen. I prepared my dad's favorite, roasted turkey. I marinated it with poison and made sure it got absorbed into the meat. I served them and watched them eat the poisoned turkey. They both started coughing blood and sweating heavily before they even finished eating. I enjoyed seeing them suffering. "Rindai, my daughter, how could you do this to us?" my dying dad asked. "You created a monster in me when you rejected me as a child, Dad. You let your wife abuse me, and you sent me to the village where your brother sexually abused me as well. Do you have any idea how painful the life you made me live was? Now it's time for you to pay. You deserve to die, Dad. You brought nothing but pain in my life. Before I finished, a group of armed police officers entered the house and pointed guns at me. I put my hands in the air and got cuffed. They told me that an investigation was done on the murders of all my victims and all the evidence pointed to me. Now, to make matters worse, my dad and my stepmom were found dead in front of me. I didn't even bother denying my actions. I was thrown into a police van and taken to police custody, where I awaited trial. Few weeks later, I appeared before the court of law, and after pleading guilty to all the murder charges, I was sentenced to life in prison. Hello, and thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to all our social media channels. Remember, it's Stories with Sharai Mabel. We are determined to reach, touch, and change lives through creative stories. So to help us achieve that, please share this video.